What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Power Spike, where we cover the world of LoL esports. Your boy dGon alongside Jamada and Dom. And we start with the sack tap. The Ready Sack boys get the job done. They get the victory. How did that one feel here, Dom?
Felt good. Wonder was kind of hard carrying. This guy is a beast. So yeah, it turns out when one of your goats is not role swapping and you have him, playing the role for fucking 10 years competitively, being one of the best top laners in the world, he looks pretty good in that LC. Crazy.
What'd you make of it, Jamada?
Yeah, I mean, mentally to me, it must have felt like that one scene out of the Thor movie where they go to Loki. It's like, you must be truly desperate to come to me. Yeah, Wonder came in and smashed it, man. Not that I'm surprised. But I can't lie, Lightside, that one game, man, they took one game off you. You let Lightside take one game off you. That was the shocking part to me.
Really?
To be honest.
Are they that bad? Are they just terrible, that team?
He's got a hate boner for Harbo,
no,
man.
I don't have a hate. No. I don't have a hate boner for Harbo. All right, let's leave Harbo out of this. He's his own little thing. But Lightside realistically were like the 8th or 9th best team in the league. So yeah, I was kind of surprised you let them take one game off you, but I think that's just part of the course of you lot. I think you like to have your little content game in the middle of a best
I just think that those types of comps, like, just ERL teams don't work well when they're trying to play like poke comps in general.
No.
Get to the objective first and try to poke them out. Like, I don't know, it just never seems to work. So I mean, it barely works in like high level pro play. So trying to do that in ERL, especially with zero practice, I don't think it was the angle, but it's okay. Ended up winning anyway, so we'll see how we do when we play against most likely Bulldog.
A couple of other things, business that happened in the world, I guess, and this one outside of LoL esports. The Eagles won the Super Bowl. How did that make you feel, Dom?
I mean, to be honest, I'd be happy if both those fucking teams lost.
Sure.
Both of them.
You have to pick one of them. You had to pick one of them. Is that the one you would pick? Do you want the three-peat with Mahomes?
No, I didn't want the three-peat.
Eagles fans. All right.
I just hate Philadelphia fans. Like, yeah. I've had just horrible experiences with people from Philadelphia. Like, yeah. I don't know. I feel like that's just a bad city. Like, it's just a bad city, and people are upset to be living there. That's my take. Like, I've been to Philadelphia, and I've like thought about like where I could live in the United States. And never once have I been like, damn, I should move to Philly. like I've never once thought, like, I've never wanted to go to vacation. Like, I had to go there for like a school trip a couple times. And then a few times I had a poker sponsorship in Atlantic City. So I had to fly into Philadelphia and I would spend like a day there and then drive over to Atlantic City because Atlantic City doesn't have an airport. And that is just like not a good city. Like, that city just fucking sucks. It's like all the shit parts of New York and none of the good parts of New York, except for they have like Philly cheesesteaks, which are like kind of good. Like,
yeah, look, James Mata, I know that you've played for half the league, but compare the 76ers experience with the OKC Thunder experience. Which one would you have rather had win?
I mean, for me, all right, this is gonna sound really mean. My girlfriend is a big Taylor Swift fan, which means she was rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I naturally had to root for the Eagles. So I was there for it. I don't know nothing about football, American football at all. Like, I am the most ignorant foreigner to the sport. But yeah, watching them dismantle the KC defense was incredible to me. Everything about it was fantastic. But I was more there for the Kendrick halftime show. To be completely real, to be completely honest, I actually watched the halftime show and then I went to bed because it was too late for me to stay up.
You halftime showed and then game overed.
Yeah.
It was
already done. It was already done by halftime. Yeah, it did not seem like there was going to be a crazy. What was it, 21 or 22 comeback? That stupid comeback with Tom Brady.
Aren't Philly fans just some of the worst fans in sports, dGon? Like, you watch other sports, no one likes Philly fans. No one likes Philly fans. No one likes Boston fans. Like
Boston, Dallas, Philly. I think it's New York. I think it's Yankees fans, Boston in total fans, Cowboys fans are fucking terrible, and then Eagles fans are fucking terrible, and then if you're not from LA, I'm sure like Lakers fans are like after that. Like they're pretty annoying.
I mean, like there's just always the fair weather fans, like the Lakers fans that are just like young kids who grew up watching LeBron and they have LeBron. You know, there's like Golden State Warriors fans that, you know, they think
only know Steph.
Yeah, they think that the franchise started when Steph Curry joined the team. Like anything before that, they didn't see the Steven Jackson era. I mean, I liked the Warriors back then. I mean, it was a pretty fun team to watch when I was like in college and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Philly fans are just considered the worst. What they're known for, Jamada, if you don't know anything about like Philadelphia fans, is they're like supposed to be like the most like hardcore fan base. Like they pretty much, if their team starts playing bad, they'll like instantly start like booing their own team. Like if their team is playing bad, they're known for
that kind of team. Okay.
Yeah, that's Philly fans. Like they just boo their own team, which is like kind of base, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. In sports, it's like a little bit. Yeah, I mean, like before the game is actually over, they'll be down like 15 in the third and like be playing bad, and you know suddenly everyone's booing them.
They grease the light poles so that people don't climb the light poles after they win a championship, because they won one in I think like baseball or something recently. So shit like that.
Yeah, they fucked up the whole city. It's funny. That's the only thing I know about Philadelphia, is that for whatever reason, regardless of the results, they fuck up the city. I saw there was like a clip of the mayor going, "Please don't climb or do anything to the light poles," and then it just transitions to them pulling a light pole out of the floor, like traffic poles out of the floor.
I wonder what fan base would be Philly fans. I already take out T1 fans because they do not boo their team. They don't. Boo
I mean, Philly T1 fans are closer to like Cowboys fans. They're just fans. Fans of like the most like popular team, right? Like Philadelphia fans are just like really diehard, but then they're also just like they just like hate their own team. Like, pretty much.
Ooh, I think Fnatic is there, because I was like, I don't think it's any of the national team, like the French teams or the Spanish teams, because they get aggressive, but they support. Fnatic fans kind of like hate it. They hate it when they suck, and they love it when they're great.
Yeah, Fnatic is a really good comparison. They're Fnatic fans for sure.
Did you like the Kendrick halftime show, Dom?
No. Not really. I thought it was pretty overrated.
I think T-Pain said it best for me, where he watched it. He's like, okay, he killed it. Drake got killed for about 20 minutes. That was great. I always was asked if I would ever do the halftime show, and I would never do supercut. That I never thought a supercut would like fit, but after watching that, I'm like, maybe. And I think that's the way I think about it. It's like he did his concert, and it was like when I think of halftime show, I think of visually stunning, you know, or like the wow factor, like when like they had in LA, and you know, Dr. Dre come up on there.
That like to me was like significantly better than this one. Like I would say the 2022 halftime show clears this one by a big margin in my mind.
Yeah, I understand the imagery and the messaging. I really liked what he was doing, but it didn't feel like that was it for the Super Bowl type performance for me. What'd you think, Jamada?
I liked it, but for different reasons. I will say, because I've watched a good handful of halftime shows as well. I think it lacked the spectacle kind of thing that it seemed like. I could.
The highlight of it was he called Drake a pedophile, essentially.
Like to me. Go ahead, Jamada.
I mean, but everyone kind of knew that's what it was gonna be, you know. Like I feel like if you went into the halftime show expecting that to be anything but a victory lap because of what happened last year, then I think you were probably just trolling yourself. And people were talking about the selection of songs as well.
I mean, to be honest, that's a huge thing for me. Like, I like a lot of Kendrick music, but like my favorite album of Kendrick's was like Good Kid, Mad City by far. Like, I think that's the best album.
Sure.
Like that, and then like To Pimp a Butterfly. Like these are the ones that I really liked. And like a lot of his like other stuff doesn't hit the same way for me. Like my favorite songs are like Money Trees. You know, I like all those fucking you know.
I get that. I mean, I can't remember which songs he did in the 2022 show, because I know he did do a couple of his big ones. Like he did All Right. I remember he did All Right for sure. He did one really popular song off of Good Kid, Mad City as well, and he did one more on top of that. So maybe he didn't want to go over some of those, but I do agree. I'm a more active Kendrick listener, so all of the songs that he played in that halftime show, that like those songs are still in my rotation now because they're pretty recent songs. Actually, most of them came off of his most recent album, so it was less of an issue to me, and I kind of got to enjoy the show because I was a Kendrick fan as opposed to being an NFL fan, right? So I think it was like a very different perspective of. He was there doing his own thing for his people as opposed to doing it for the NFL. And I kind of wonder how much that skews the perspective of people thinking it was a good show because it lacked the general spectacle that usually comes with those halftime shows.
Is that what people like his newer stuff more than his older stuff? Kendrick fans?
No.
Because like most people that I talk to, but I'm like in the older generation, like I'm a boomer, right? So like people that I talk to are like, they love like Good Kid, Mad City. Like almost every song on that album is like insane, in my opinion.
I don't think there's a skip on the album. Like to be honest,
a crazy album.
It is a ridiculously high fidelity album. I think that people have a softer spot for the older stuff because of how good it was for the time, whereas most of his more recent projects have been a lot more like soulful / tackling one particular topic as opposed to like. To Pimp a Butterfly had a big kind of like America, like this is America undertone, and then to Good Kid, Mad City was like kind of about the gang life and how that it was like my society is fucked up. Like why is it so fucked up? Like but my local community. Whereas the other albums basically after that were a lot more based on him directly as a person, as opposed to those albums. So I think people have struggled to connect with like the last 3 albums because of that. Whereas the other albums were a lot more generalized around like African American culture and kind of being in America as a black guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it's like for me and even about the messaging. Like I just like actually just enjoy the songs more. Like I just feel like the Money Trees beat comes on and like I hear that and I'm just like instantly in a good mood. Like I just feel like great when I hear the beginning of Money Trees or just like swimming pools. Like that's a huge one where I'm just like, damn, I just feel good listening to that song. Like I don't know. Good Kid, Mad City, like just both of those songs. I fuck with both of them hard. I don't know. I just think I just like those other songs more just from like a listening perspective. It's just more, just appealing to me.
I don't want to drag
all right.
too long.
Last point, Jamada.
I'll just say I don't think he really makes music anymore for the sake of making like kind of bangers, right? And I think he kind of stopped after Damn. Yep. Like Damn was the last one because that like had Humble and DNA and Love and so many. I still
like the other stuff more than that, to be honest.
I mean, so do I.
Okay, good.
Cool. Yeah. Anyway, that's Kendrick's halftime. Yeah, that's what I was there for. Really.
Had to weigh in on it. We had to weigh in on it, and just because it was such big news and it was a big deal. Maybe not the spectacle, I guess. And going back to just the spectacle idea, that was going to be my point, Jamada. It was like the spectacle of it was kind of missing, but that moment, it's the picture. Yeah. It's the picture that's going around on Twitter right now.
You know what though?
It's him with the smile and the tilt and the millions around the world watching. I was like, damn,
I do wonder how it looked
GG.
in the venue. I do wonder how it looked in the venue because if there's one thing I recall when I was at World's Finals in 2024, in the venue watching the pre-show like song and everything, it looked incredible in the venue. But then I watched it back through the VOD and it didn't look as anywhere near as good. So I do wonder actually what it looked like being in the stadium as opposed to seeing it broadcast, because I thought there was a very big quality gap then. But this is Super Bowl, so you would expect the quality gap to not be as big from like a watching from home experience.
That's so interesting because I think Riot normally prioritizes the at-home experience, especially because they've gotten the sports Emmys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So, but it did take me a second to remember what last year's was. This is what you asked for. 500 hands to the ground. Yeah. All the yelling. All right. All right. Let's kick this one off just because. Dom, this week is a little bit shorter in matches. LEC was off. LPL had a couple of good ones, but a couple of bad ones like the one today. LCK mostly had bad ones. LTA mostly our results that we expected. So a little bit lighter, but you did something that I thought was fascinating, and I just felt like it would have been, it's good content. And so I wanted to try it out here. We're going to do the first ever Power Spike game show.
Okay.
You were watching the pros in LEC do the guess the champion thing by like just not using the word. So it's basically playing taboo. And I'm going to have you and Jamada play, and you're going to go first. You got 10 champs. We got the timer. Light's going to put the timer up for us here and see how long it takes for you to get through 10 champs. And then Jamada, you have 10 different champs, and then you'll go to Dom, and we'll put it in there. All right. And then so that, just because when you're watching Dom, you not you make them, but also they came off like it was one of the hardest tasks ever. I gotta be careful with my words. I was gonna say like they've never been to school, but actually, a lot of them haven't been to school before. There's your list of champs, Dom. I DM'd it to you.
Okay.
So friends at home, you can guess. Set your timers now. Light will start the timer, and our producer Light will tell us when we can go. Sit back and relax. You're watching the first ever Power Spike game show where we're playing Guess That Champ. And Dom is going to use any word that he wants except the champion to describe which one. He has 10 of them, and we're going to see how fast he can do it. Light, whenever you're ready, go ahead, count us down, and we'll get into it. All right? All right. Go ahead, Dom.
Demacia.
Oh, Garen.
Hentai.
Ilawi.
Oh my God, 2.
Rat IRL.
Oh, Twitch.
Okay.
Okay. Wait, I haven't even thought about the. Okay. Blank and Rakan.
Zaya.
That's fair.
Smart way to do that, yeah.
PDF mid champ. Not Annie. There we go.
Zoe.
Okay. All right. Rides the AD carry.
Oh, Yumi.
All right.
4 more.
Anchor.
Nautilus.
That's good.
Bussy.
Oh, Bussy.
Yeah.
Now that's the first bad shout, I think. Unless you were trying to say Bouncy, I don't know. Fuck. Scion? Go. Give me no. You
All right, never mind. Arcane.
Jinx.
New.
Oh, Victor. New,
Top
no.
lane.
Top Jace. Oh no, you said new. Ambessa.
All right, 2
LL
more.
Stylish.
Oh, Zed.
Last one.
On duty.
Timo.
There we go.
All right, there we go. What we got, Light? 1 minute 50. All right.
Wow.
Other people
Bussy?
had like 5 minutes. Like,
I know.
Yeah, can we talk about
do you
the
know the
pussy
Am
for a
Bussy
second?
emote? Do you know the Am Bussy emote?
No, I'm not clued in, bro. You've got to educate me.
Hang on, let me put on incognito.
You don't know Am
mode.
Bussy? Okay.
No, I think I'm
Here, I'll find it. Let me see. 7TV. Am Bussy. You don't know Am Bussy, bro?
No, maybe I'm getting old. This might be what this is.
What?
I say is definitely the youngest panel. Youngest of the panel.
Twitch chat found one. There's one called Ambessa Love, and it's just it's a Twitch global emote. There's probably.
I don't know how to search emotes. I have it in my chat. Is there a way I can like search emotes?
Yeah, if you just open the chat and then click on the 7TV thing, it will like
I
pull
guess
out
I
the
have
menu.
to log in for it.
Oh, you can't just search it. Fuck. All right.
Hold on.
All right. What's so Dom has to beat my time or what? What's the
So
Are we
you're
doing it the other way?
151. Yeah, we're doing it the other way, but he has different champs. So it's not exactly, perfect, but
I thought Jamada was actually really good at it, to be honest.
I think you gave me really good hints. Yeah,
you gave really good hints.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Again, if you go back and rewatch the LEC one, it's bad.
There, I just dropped it in the Power Spike chat. You see it? It's, it's called Am Bussy, and then this is the emote. It's kind of like the Renekton like EE.
Yeah. I see.
Huh.
All right, here you go, Jamada. Here's your list.
Okay.
All right.
All right, 151. That's the time to beat.
All right. Am I getting a count in to start, or what's the?
Yeah. Light's setting it up now. He's got to reset the timer.
No problem.
All right, chat. Think about it. Think about how you would do this one. All right, go ahead and count down to down.
Kesha.
Nunu.
Yeah. Noam Watley.
Tom Kench.
Yeah. Gripex.
Leeson.
Oh God.
You're just using pro players.
No, I'm not.
Streamers.
Top lane PDF.
Jax.
My man. Shit. Who do you even? Land Shark.
Rek'Sai.
Yeah, correct.
Yep, that's good. That's good.
Fuck. I don't know what to give for this one.
40 seconds.
Big animal lives in cold places, but this one has
Volibear?
lightning. Yes. You used to be in beef with a fellow named Chase, and he plays this champion.
Shaco.
Yeah. Correct. Sorry, I'm burning hell of your time. AP bot laner, probably the best one.
Ziggs.
Correct.
Two more.
Another AP bot laner, probably the one that you'd pick after Ziggs.
Hui?
Oh no. Keep go.
Seraphine.
Yes.
Last one.
Elements mid laner. Assassin.
Kiana.
Yeah.
Time. What we got? That was close. 149. All right, that was 1 second. You guys are on the same wavelength. What the fuck?
And I burned a lot of his time.
Wait, what are they allowed to say in?
Yeah, actually, we didn't really get parameters, so I was just saying shit.
I'm highly sure because when I watched the video, it looks like they were allowed to say anything but the champ's name. So Jamada, once you went like the streamer route and you got stuck on Rek'Sai because there isn't like a Rek'Sai streamer, I was like, why do you just do the normal stuff like Void, Jungler, Tunnel, like whatever?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh no, they can say anything. Okay,
they can say anything. Wow.
Yeah, they can say like top lane champion, like whatever, like top lane champion similar to like Darius or something. Like they'll be able to
right.
to say anything. Okay, so now we know that these players, most of them are just fucking trolling. Like, that's it.
Yeah, dude. I just needed to triple check because it was like 7 minutes and they did 20 champs. To be fair, they did 20 champs, but like we did
really
10 in like one. We did 10 in like 2 minutes, bro.
I know it was like this. It was similar to them, right? But I think that we were also like trying to make like a singular hint where they were just like saying like over. They're like
saying like whole sentences and stuff.
Yeah, they're like child champion mid lane, like next to like that's what that would be their Zoe hint,
Right.
Oh yeah, I would have said Annie. All right, well, good. I just saw that and I was like, Dom made this shit look real easy, but also I'm thinking it's really easy too. It can't be that easy, right? Is it that easy? And Jamada Dom proved it was that easy. Let us know the comments afterwards if that's something that was easy for you guys too, or if I just picked easy champs. To be fair, I didn't think it got hard, Jamada, until Kiana. I was like, all right, I'll throw in Kiana.
Yeah. Kiana was...
Yeah, we were like on pace with. Oh wait, never mind. We weren't on pace with them. There was we're on pace with the good one, but there was like bad ones that like went like 9 minutes. Like 9 minutes is crazy for 20 champs.
The G2 boys were going fast, weren't they? I felt like they were going fast.
Yeah, I mean, Upset Upset and Mickey were 130, and G2 was 138. But like we didn't know that you could say like as much. Like I would have went harder. I was trying to like do like one word a bit. Yeah, like one word or like couple words.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this week's Power Spike game show. Let us know in the comments below if you liked it. GG, both guys. 1 second apart. That was pretty great. Time to remind you about one of the friends of the show that makes it happen all together. It's our friends over at Factor. Are you all ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Well, Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that makes eating well and easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat in 2 minutes so you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active and busy lifestyle. Lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with the Factor Keto meals based on a randomized controlled clinical trial with Factor Keto. Results may vary depending on diet and exercise. For y'all at home, I've been doing my own fitness journey, and Factor meals would have been so great for it to be on top of things while I've got to like go to work out. I also golf. I also play soccer. Had a photo shoot last week. Got to do my hair. Like, it's not easy when you don't have a lot of time. Factor Meals makes that so much more streamlined. And Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. So eat smart this year with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/powerspike50 off. And use the code PowerSpike50off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code PowerSpike50off at factormeals.com/PowerSpike50off. Get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Dom, you've loved it. Again, what has been the most recent kind of meal fascination that you've had recently with Factor?
I mean, there's been a couple that have been new, like, cause I mean, pretty much they have like 40 meals to choose from, but they rotate, right? So that's like, that'll be like your options for a week. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of new ones that came out. So the new one that I liked was like, it was like a sausage and 4 cheese tortellini. That one was really good. Yeah, sausage and 4 cheese tortellini. That was really good. There's a creamy garlic chicken. That is really good. There is a new, I can't remember the name of it. There's one that's like a new, like, it's like almost Mediterranean dish. That's good. I can't remember the name of it. Outside of those, there's a spinach and tomato pasta with chicken and like a little bit of like feta cheese on it. That's really good. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, man. You have a lot to choose from.
Again, when you think about how much money you've been spending on eating out, or, like how many groceries you waste when you don't cook right away, it all adds up, and Factor will have you covered if you just stick with the meal plan. So head on over to factormeals.com/powerspike50 off and use code powerspike50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. Knock out those goals with their friends over at Factor and support the show that you love to watch. Thanks to our friends over at Factor. All right, y'all, let's get into our first league segment of the day. And we're going with a little bit of rank 'em. And again, not the good kind of ranking, because a couple of these guys had tough weeks, including one where they didn't even play, but, strays still find their way to the bottom teams in certain regions. We're looking at UmTi, Larssen, and that's right, the President Pollu over at BRO. We're ranking him from 3 to 1. All right. So, Pollu and the Bros, they finished 8th, 9th, better than 10th from a positive perspective. They were favored probably going into it by most people. Larssen had an off week. I think an interview came out with him. I guess
a couple off weeks, mate. Off months, perhaps.
I mean, he's only had, like, the thing that I'll say is that Larssen only really has 3 bad weeks to split, and people flame him for it.
It's true. It's been going on for a little while now.
That'll be for the viewers to decide how that works out.
And then obviously UmTi has felt the brunt of a lot of criticism after some performances, to the point where he made a statement about it, and the LTA pushed that one out. Again, love UmTi as an interview. His journey has been great. English is great. Grew up in Kuala Lumpur. That's why he speaks English. Fits well with the team when things are going well, when things aren't going well. it's been a rough ride for him. So let's rank them. Those are your 3. Think about it. Stew on it. Jamada, you go first. Who is your third least?
Like the least?
I guess, yeah. First is the worst. Third is the least worst. All right.
I screwed this up last week.
Yeah, you did. Come on, man.
It's my own fault. So I'm gonna put Pollu in third because do you know why? I don't have any strong feelings towards Pollu. I haven't watched the Pro Nongshim series. I don't know how bad he showed up in playoffs, but I am very, very convinced about where I know the rest of my ranking is gonna go.
Okay.
It couldn't have been that bad. I know he's here, but it couldn't have been the war crimes that UmTi was committing last weekend, and it couldn't have been the war crimes that Larssen's been committing for the last 2 years. So I know I'm a bit of a cop-out answer. I apologize, but it's the one series in playoffs I've actually just not sat down to watch. So unless there was more shenanigans going on before, which pretty plausible, I think I recall a few moments. I'm gonna put Pollu in third because I know that Larssen and UmTi have to be worse. I'm not sure what Dom's gonna say, but that's where I'm at.
All right, Dom, you go ahead on third.
Yeah, third I'll give Pollu as well. I think that Pollu is the type of guy that like he's not good, but then he's also playing in Korea, right? So it's like he's playing against harder competition for the most part. I mean, he was pretty bad this last week though. Like he was kind of running it down, but I don't know. I mean, it's like expected. I feel like when you run it down on bro, people don't even care that much. Like it's haha, Giga Chad. Wow, they don't need to try hard to still remain in LCK. Giga Chad, bro. Like that's like the whole meme. Like which I don't understand, but I just accept it.
I'm surprised. Well, I'm not surprised by this one. I just thought it would go a little bit harder because when you watch the series, Jamada, Hambach also had a pretty tough go at it, but the president was he was not having a good first couple of playoff weeks there. So yeah, we'll leave him in third, and the Bros will have all next couple of months to think about how they're going to fix that one up. All right, number 2, Dom. You're up.
Number 2, I'm going to have UmTi. I like this. Look. UmTi
I can't believe it.
I'm really surprised.
UmTi has been pretty bad, but like, it's pretty close. Like he's at least playing like some games where he's not solo losing the game. So like for me, like UmTi, he's definitely bad. He definitely seems like he has like some type of like mental block, or he's like in his own head because the stuff he's doing is just inexplicable. And I was thinking about it, right? Like imagine you were a coach for UmTi, right? And you saw what he did mid with like the drunk driving. What do you even like? What's the feedback you even give? Because the original play where he looks for the flash E on the carry, like that is a play that makes sense. Like for him, if he flash E's and hits Cassio into the wall there, ults off of it, like that is a good pick. That is what he should be doing as a Skarner. Flash E is a good way to initiate team fights. It's actually what you want to do a lot of the time, because in the standoffs, trying to like drive into them is not going to work, and flash ulting, gives them the ability to flash. So flash E makes sense. But it's just like all the reactions to the information after he missed the flash E is the problem. Like he just completely like shits the bed in the middle of the rift as soon as he misses the flash E. Like he's like, oh shit, I'm driving. Oh, what the fuck do I do? Oh, I got the Nico. He like drives the Nico into his team. Then the Nico is in his team. APA is like, holy fuck, there's just a random Nico in the middle of our team that didn't have flash. Tries to push him out. UmTi then just like hooks them back in and like make sure it's like, no, we're all getting hit by this ult. What do you even say as a coach there? Like, what do you even say? Because it's not like the initial play is even bad. Like the intention of the play is good, but he mechanically messed up. And normally as a coach, you're not going to be like, bro, you got to have better mechanics. Like what information could you give? And then all the other stuff is just going to be instincts. And that's where he completely shat the bed. So I don't even know like where you begin with coaching a player that is like so bad instinctually when things break down.
Jamada.
My 2 was Larssen. I wasn't gonna. I know I seem really hard on Larssen generally, but
So weigh in on UmTi first, then. Weigh in on UmTi first, then we'll let you set the stage for Larssen.
It just seemed like a generational like bed shitting session for UmTi, bro. I don't know what else to say. Like, I don't want to rehash all of the points that Dom's just said, right? But he just seems like a genuine detriment to so many of TL's plays, like back to back to back to back. Where it's gotten to a point where sometimes I'll watch a play unfold and I will specifically look at UmTi in the play as opposed to looking at the play holistically, just to see what UmTi's doing because of the frequency of bedshitting going on from him. Yeah, whether it was the Skarner thing, whether it was the Def Record game, he had an okay series post that, right? It was Dig, yeah, because Fly played Shopify. So like the Dig series wasn't that bad, but even in the Dig series, it was like there's a couple of hiccups where I'm just kind of looking at him as like, man, the decisions you're making are still really strange in a lot of these sequences. So yeah, I really think I share a lot of the same sentiment with Dom. I just don't have Larssen higher.
Yeah, he's a fearless terrorist, to be honest. It's like fearless draft is like, yeah, it is made like he is going to run you down now because of fearless draft. Just as
I really worry. Well, I was gonna say because I actually learned this the other day. If best of fives were to roll in earlier in any part of the LTA format, I would be so worried for UmTi after game 2, basically, because the tanks are usually gone by that point, right? Normally, most teams are picking a majority of the champions that UmTi looked good on throughout a lot of last year, because most of them are still meta. So most of them are usually gone by game 2, maybe banned away in game 3, or if you're not on blue side, you don't get the option of picking it. So, yeah, I think the fact that it's also going to be best of 3 basically until finals for the playoffs is a really big benefit to TL, because if it was best of 5s, I would be shitting it for them.
Yeah.
It's rough. I feel like where does he improve? Where can he improve? And Dom, you've said this for such a long time. He had such a
maybe LTA South.
Such a big.
He could improve there. Maybe he could improve in, I don't know.
Yeah.
LCK Challengers could be a good place.
Is it shot calling? I meant more of like not a physical location. I meant more of like in the sphere of being a pro. Is it champ pool? Is it shot calling? Is it decisiveness? I
have no clue what a shot calling is. Like, what could a shot calling even be? Like, I got Nico. Like, what do you think he's actually fucking saying? Like in these games, I don't know. I mean, his pathing and his like decision making, like in the early game, should be fine most of the time. But he just seems like very like anti-clutch. He is anti-clutch. He's a big choker. I mean, we saw it last year. Last year, like anytime that TL was on the verge of like having some like really big upset, he just took a shit in the middle of the rift, bro. He made sure that everyone knew that like his team could not win when they could. So, you know, it is what it is. He seems like a big choker when it comes to just his results. I mean, you saw in the series versus FlyQuest at Worlds, underperformed. In the series versus T1 at MSI, underperformed. EWC, underperformed. Like, lost games that were already won. It was crazy to see somebody actually have this bad of a result. Because those games shouldn't have even been hard at those stages. You know, like, that's the thing is you're playing a Maokai game where your team is really ahead. All you have to do is play normally, and it's like he fucked up every part of it. Like, he over-engaged, then he got caught, then he misses a Baron Smite. It's like, bro, you couldn't have played the game worse from this point. So, for me, it's like, I don't know. It's like it's like when things break down, he gets so flustered and starts just like running down the game mercilessly. Like, he just seems like as soon as things get tense, he just can't function anymore as a player. So I don't know if it's like a sports psychologist that's needed or some type of person that's able to like ground him more and like give him things to calm him down in game. But it just feels like he just starts power inting when things get a little bit rough, which is obviously inexcusable. I mean, you never want a player that isn't able to just like do, like, you just need to calm down and just take the free win. You know, like that's all you need to do a lot of times in these situations. He's like the opposite of inspired, to be honest. Like, he's got like no spell discipline. Like, he's just gonna send it every single time. I don't know. It's really hard to watch.
All right.
Go ahead.
very small. I think UmTi feels like, to use a word that Don Jake would probably smite me for, he is a system player in every sense of the word. And my problem with that for UmTi is, you ask like, how does he get better? I don't know how he does, much like what Dom said. I think more because of that, because you can't play around the player who you put in to kind of be X role, right? In this case, UmTi's the tank engage guy. That's what he looks the best on 99% of the time. So he's not like a versatile player like how Inspired is, where Inspired has this really big depth of champion pool where you can play around him. That's my big concern, is like, usually I'd say, hey, you know what? Like, fuck it, let's give UmTi a series where he plays carries, or we draw specifically around UmTi, so UmTi has a good series or UmTi has a good game, because UmTi plays champions that makes his laners look good, or as opposed to ever being the other way around, right? So that's kind of where I fear for UmTi, in like the sense of, can we get the consistency floor up? I feel like it's just always going to be a mental game for him, like Dom's alluding to.
I mean,
and I think
there's a lot of problems.
There are a lot of problems. And I don't really know if TL as a team can do much about it. It's just kind of an individual thing that UmTi has to get over himself.
I mean, the other problem that I have with UmTi is like, I do think, or the other problem that he has is that it's not a good meta for him, because not only is it fearless draft in previous metas, like if it was a meta like this, you could just not play Vi Wukong and you could just be locking like Sejuani, Maokai, Skarner, Ivern, whatever. You could lock those champions and you could be okay with the meta not being perfect for you. The problem is the other meta champions are like Wukong Vi, which he is fucking horrible on, right? And in previous metas, like if you think about what UmTi is normally good at, it was Lee Sin was fine. In spring, it was like his Jax counterpick to Xin Zhao was something that he was good at. So you had that coming in. If he was able to play some of the champions that he's at least decent at, then maybe it would be like okay. But he's absolutely terrible at Vi and Wukong, because it's pretty much like all the flaws we talked about, where he has issues with dealing with situations that are difficult, like if things break down, like capitalizing on certain mistakes. His instincts mid-fight are really bad. You need to have these qualities to play Vi in a top tier game. Like, it is very easy to power int. If you're somebody who like is not disciplined with your spells and you Vi ult the wrong target in a pro play, like in a competitive game, you're going to be flying into the whole enemy team. You're insta dead. They get Baron, whatever. You have to have a lot of discipline to play this champion. So I think the biggest problem when I'm watching everything for him is that like he doesn't even have, like, the meta's bad for him. He's in a mental rut. His teammates are playing worse than before. And like, yeah, like he just doesn't have, like, he's playing in a format that is really bad for him because of his inability to play like a huge amount of champions. It's like the worst of all worlds combined right now.
Well, I guess we'll see if things change. The meta changes for him, but yeah, tough stuff. All right, Jamada. Now go ahead. Lay it on thick. Lay it home for Mr. Larssen as your number one, man.
No, this is number two. Larsen's my number two.
Or number two. My bad. Sorry.
He was number one. See, now you're messing up the order.
I am messing up the order. I can't count. Dom, go ahead. Lay it on thick for number one.
I mean, I just think that Larssen has been so bad for so long. Like, it's just everything that he used to be good at, he's no longer good at. He used to be the guy that had really good control mages. He was really good at farming, so he would always have like the CS lead, and at some point he would take over the game in team fights. He would play these things that scaled well. His lane phase was good on his mages, and now he has like none of those strengths anymore, and he's like just bad at everything else, as bad as he ever was. There was a while in 2022 where it felt like he was actually getting better. Like his Silas was something that he could finally play. He was playing LeBlanc pretty well, which was like a little bit surprising. But now he's just bad at everything. So I just feel like for me, like UmTi is he was fine in summer. He was an okay jungler in summer, and then he started playing like worse at Worlds. He started playing pretty bad, and then at this split, he's just been terrible. Like Larssen has been bad for so long, and it's like he is somebody who's supposed to be the best player on this rogue team, and he is the main carry of this team, and they haven't been to playoffs, which in LEC is top 8. It's top 8 out of 10 teams. He hasn't been to playoffs in the last 2 years. That is fucking insane. Like, being bottom 2, you need 3 wins. You need 3 wins out of 9 best of ones to get the playoffs, and he hasn't been able to do it for a long period of time. Like, it's been a year and a half, bro. It's been a year and a half. Like, I don't know. For me, it's just kind of disgusting that he's been this bad for so long. I just feel like he should, like, there's no excuse for him to be playing at the level he's been playing at. It just makes no sense to me.
Jamada, you're normally on this train, riding it until the end. What's up?
Unfortunately, Dom is saying a lot of what I agree with. I think that there are also like circumstances around it where I would argue that I feel like the mid-pool like floor has gotten a little bit better. Like there are significantly more higher fidelity mids on average, I feel like, in the LEC compared to maybe previous years. And I think that really doesn't help Larssen's like argument here. Because as a long-tenured mid laner now in the LEC, he should be in. I mean, he was always in the conversation, right? It was Larssen, Caps, Humanoid. That was always the trio of EU mids, whereas like you talk about these guys as the best mids in Europe. He has not developed or kept up the same level. Sure as hell not with Caps. Maybe when Humanoid doesn't care about a series, that's about where Larssen is at most of the time, right? So yeah, he's just felt like a passenger for a really long time. He's not seemingly, and you know, sometimes you can attribute this to a coach, but seemingly he's not really developed a particularly broad champion pool. It stayed within the confines of the control majors and you know, the occasional fun pick, but I don't think I've seen him play anything, any of the AD mids that have been, you know, popular over the last year. I think maybe he played a bit of Tristana when it was meta at most. The guy just sticks to what he's, you know, most traditionally known for, and he's not having an impact for it, right? It's one thing to kind of be I don't want to say a one trick, but in terms of playstyle, it's one thing to only play like a certain set of champions. It's another thing to play that set of champions and seemingly not find any tangible change for your team for this long. I cannot recall the last time where I looked at a Rogue game and said, man, Larssen looked really good here. You know, I've definitely been able to say, wow, at the very least, Rogue have made good decisions that got them like one individual game win. I think it was maybe the back end of spring last year, right? I could
beat G2 a couple of times.
Yeah, like I could at the very least see there was marked improvement week to week from Rogue in the regular season. But in saying that, they still didn't make playoffs, so who fucking cares? Like, you're not making top 8, so
I mean, it's top 8 in LEC. Like, it's not like you have to be super fucking good. Like there's no excuse for your team as Rogue with this lineup to not be better than Heretics, at least. Like, Heretics has a bunch of fucking rookies. They have no budget. You at least have like known players, like LEC players that have all had some level of success on your team, and you're just this bad. It's really sad. And a lot of it, you can see it comes from Larssen.
All right. Yeah. Well, there's our list. Any final thoughts on our list? I feel like the president got off he got a presidential pardon.
He got fortunate because I hadn't happened to watch the BRO series. Maybe if I go back retrospectively now and tap in, it gets worse. But
it's pretty bad, bro.
Is it
bad.
Okay?
It's maybe bad. As the BRO guy, it's bad.
Maybe this is some homework for me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like UmTi's recent performances have been like so bad that it has to earn its spot. And Larssen, I can kind of live with ish, but yeah, it's still not great.
All right, let us know back home who was worse. Was it UmTi? Was it Larssen? Or was it the president who just sits quietly in third? Not a lot of folks speaking up for him
still
there.
Playing. You know, at least
that's true.
Playing.
Yep. He has opportunity to move up and down on this list of his own accord compared to others. So let us know in the comments below what you think about this session of Rankem. All right. Time to remind you about one of our friends that help make the show happen. It's our friends over at Turtle Beach. Valentine's Day is coming up real soon, and Turtle Beach's new Gen 3 Stealth 700 headset is the perfect gift. It's the world's most comfortable headset with superhuman hearing technology. It's almost like cheating, which obviously you would never do to your partner, but if your partner wanted to cheat in-game, get these headset here, the Gen 3 Stealth 700 by Turtle Beach. You'll be able to hear every enemy sneaking up on you like they're stomping through your living room in tap dancing shoes. And best of all, the Stealth 700 has the industry's first ever cross-play dual wireless transmitter system. That means you can seamlessly switch between your consoles and PCs with just a click of a button. And it gets even better. While being connected to your console, the Stealth 700 can connect with your phone for music streaming or taking calls at the same time. And for a limited time only, for our listeners, you can get 10% off your entire order with the code SPIKE at turtlebeach.com. Don't miss out. Stay warm and level up your love game with 10% off at turtlebeach.com using the promo code SPIKE. Again, here, boom, we're using it right here. They're crystal clear, super comfortable, doesn't fuck up my hair, which I think is very, very important. You get that hat hair, you don't want that. No, Turtle Beach has you covered there. Battery lasts a long time, charges super fast, an 80-hour battery life with quick charge. And of course, over at Turtle Beach, they don't have just amazing headsets. They have every gaming accessory that you could ever want. They're all high quality at prices that don't break the bank. You know, you got flight simulators, racing car simulators, controllers, keyboards, mice. Turtle Beach is the ultimate cheat code. So head on over to turtlebeach.com and use the code SPIKE for 10% off your entire order. That's 10% off your entire order with the code SPIKE at turtlebeach.com. Thanks to our friends over at Turtle Beach. All right, not a lot of good games, like I said at the top, which is kind of why we had the Power Spike game show. But we did have El Dominico, our second ever best of 5, go all 5 games in the major regions. That's right. And it is our certified banger of the week. A series that was fun, scrappy throughout. The LPL GOAT was in full form, I'd say. And of course, we're talking about JDG and Weibo, a great best of 5 series. So let's get into it. It's our certified banger of the week. All right, so this one went all 3. And Dom, when you think about this series, when we go into playoffs here for the LPL and potentially having these 2 teams maybe represent the region, you know, obviously they got to get through BLG, but what do you think will be the takeaway from this series?
I mean, I think the takeaway that people will have will be like champion specific. I'd still actually believe, even though Weibo lost, I still felt like they were playing overall better than JDG.
Yeah.
It's just they lost because of, you know, specific things, like, you know, they picked elite support and they don't know how to play elite support. Elite support is actually really strong right now. We see it all the time in the LCK. We see it banned a ton in the LCK, but you have to be willing to like swap. You have to be willing to play dive situations well, and you need to use the pick to get a lead, which I think that they failed to do. But overall, I think that like both these teams showed that they have something. They have some good aspects of their team. Like Weibo's macro, I think was really good for the most part. They're one of the only teams we've seen like cross map and give Otacon, which I think is actually good. Like Otacon, if you get it, especially going forward, like the 15-second recall one that we have on 25.s1.3 or whatever the fuck they call it patches nowadays, being able to cross map and give like a 20-minute Otacon, and just like all you have to do is you just don't int after you give them the Otacon, right? Like you have 2.5 minutes where you can play the map safely. If Dragon is down and you get like a tier 2 turret, you get that influx of gold, you push out your lanes, you have decent wave clear, etc. You can play around an Otacon timer pretty well. And I thought it was like cool to see a team consciously do that, because it kind of always takes one team to like be willing to make an adjustment like this before other teams catch on. Normally everyone is just like, yeah, we have to play for Otacon, we have to control it, you always have to have a war on it, whatever. People have this mentality, and then one team is like, wait, it's just kind of bad, no? And then everyone agrees, like, oh yeah, it is fucking bad, and then everyone falls into line. So it's cool to see like Weibo have confidence in their own like decision making as a team. And I think JDG just had like some moments that were good. I mean, definitely like the players played individually well. I thought Pays was playing pretty well overall. Throughout the series, he definitely didn't play perfect or anything, but he was playing pretty well throughout the series. And yeah, it was just a contentious best of 5. Like, you got to see why these 2 teams are, you know, just with they have like fucking they have hype. They are considered super teams. You get to see why, because the players individually are good for the most part. And I think it's just going to come down to like refining and understanding what the real strengths of each individual team is, because they're trying a lot of different things. And that's the thing about Fearless, is you can't just run the same strategy back over and over again. Most of the time you're going to have to go to different styles. So for example, JDG in game 2, they pulled out like the poke comp kind of with Nidalee into Zyra. Obviously the Weibo draft in game 2 I thought was terrible, like the Lucian Pike, like that shit was just fucking horrible. So they're trying to figure out which things work for them, but for the most part I feel like both teams get to learn about themselves a lot through a series like this.
Jamada, what did you make of this series in general first?
Well, it was fun. League of Legends was hard. I don't have as much analytical takeaway from this series, weirdly enough. I agree with the sentiment. It felt like Weibo won that series 4-1 as opposed to JDG walking away the victor, which I look at this series more from a holistic point of what this kind of looks like for the LPL as a whole. A couple of episodes ago, I was very, very big on JDG. I still am, right? I can't help but feel that if this is the floor, then at the very least for Winter, they're not going to. I don't think they're going to go and contest like BLG super hard. That was the kind of takeaway I had from the series, if anything. It was just messy. It was just very, very messy. Yeah, I don't have many comments that Dom hasn't made here, because a lot of my takeaways were the same. People will focus on like for example, the LeBlanc pick from Xiaohu, I think it was game 4, where realistically they could have picked like any other champion in the game and it would have just been better than LeBlanc in that situation, because they could team fight or like not just get fucked on the side lane for free. So yeah, I hope that for JDG this is like it's a nice confidence booster, because I'm very big on JDG. I'm kind of like a soft JDG supporter this year, because I want to see a team contest BLG. As much as it was fun to see BLG get their like big year last year, because what happened in 2023, I don't want the LPL to turn into like a one team region, right? And I don't think it ever will. But JDG is the team that I have on the docket to, by the time summer rolls around, they look pretty good. So as far as the series is concerned, I think this looked about as maybe good as it could look for both teams, if I was to be very optimistic about the actual performance on the Rift itself.
So let me throw out a couple things. First to Dom about just the Otacon trading, because I feel like you're right. It does take a team to set that standard of like, here's what we are intentionally trading this, not for a like reset or not because we think we're going to lose this fight, because we're getting something else on the map. I think they got, was it 3 towers? They got mid and both bot towers, I think, like outer and inner, and it was like a shit ton of gold. And then they just sat under their mid turret and then and fought at like top jungle and like reset the Otacon. It was like, oh my god, you got so much gold off that. Do you feel like they can only do that because it spawned on the top side? Because if it spawns on the bot side, it feels like Drake is kind of there and in the way, and not as I mean, Drake was already down to do that.
Right? Wasn't Drake already down in that?
I think it was. I want
to say it was.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, it's like the same type of thing where you just do the same thing. I think that it's about the timing of it, not the location of it. Like, if it's top side, doesn't really matter. If it's bot side, it doesn't really matter. It's just, are you going to be able to leverage this into Baron? And I think also what teams are doing is they're not viewing Otacon as a 2 minute and 30-second buff anymore. Because if you get into a fight and your buff is expiring in 10 seconds, like, it takes a while for like the people to actually like, kill you, right? So
yeah,
teams that are contesting it are like, if they start like, okay, let's say they get Otacon at 22:45, they're not going to be able to get Baron in 15 seconds and have the GAs. Right. Like, they can't force a fight on you and get Baron. So like, you just need to like stay there, wait until the Baron is like kind of low or whatever, and you can jump on them and fight, and you're going to actually start killing some actual people. You're not going to just be getting the Otacon. So people are just having a much more accurate mentality of how big the buff really is, because unlike Baron, where it's like, you have it and then you're pushing with a wave, and then the wave that the Baron expires on, like, that's your last wave, whatever. Otacon is something where they can choose when they actually kill you. So if they start a fight and it's like 7-8 seconds, even if 2 people withdraw, if you kill the other 3, those are 3 death timers. Like that's already enough. Like you've already essentially secured yourself the next objective or just a huge fight win, or tempo on the map, whatever. So I just think that in the beginning, Otacon was so blatantly OP because it only gave 100 gold if you killed people, and it was just something that like, you know, it was super easy to kill, whatever. That people just were like, oh, you have to contest it. It's so OP. And now it's less OP than it was. Then it becomes even less OP on the third patch here. Yeah, the next patch here, 25.s1.3. This patch, it's so fucking stupid how we have to say this. Whatever. I would have liked 20. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, just
25.s1.3. Whatever. I'll just fucking say the thing. On that patch, it's 15-second withdrawal. So it's not like you can just like suicide everyone, get a kill, and then insta go Baron. You have to wait for everyone to like withdraw. They sit in base, and then you can actually go out. So now, not only does it give more gold than it originally did, it's a longer time to spawn in, and teams over time have practiced more, scrimmed against it, and they have a better idea of like what cross mapping could really mean. It's not like Baron where you can just get Otacon and you can just start taking turrets. It's hard to actually get turrets. You kind of have to dive the enemy team, but it's not worth it a lot of times. Even if you're doing an Otacon at 21 minutes or something, you diving them, like you could give over more gold than, you know, the 2 kills. Whereas before you would 5-man dive, all die for 1 member or 2 members, and that would be worth it based on like the gold value that they had at the time, because 1 kill is like 450 gold, right? So all 5 members is pretty much the equivalent to 1 kill. If you can get 2 kills, nice, you won out. So yeah, no, I just like to see the difference in mentality and how people are adapting to the game here. I think that's the most important thing. And then also for Weibo, I think that their problems are a lot more fixable. It felt like the games they just lost because of draft rather than, well, I wouldn't say game 5 they lost because of draft. They just didn't play the draft well. But I would say games 2 and 4 they lost because of the draft, and they looked generally better than the enemy team. I mean, Lucian mid is just fucking terrible. We're Lucian mid blinding for no reason, just because we need an AD mid with an AP jungler. Super fucking not worth it. They even like smashed that early game, didn't matter at all, got stomped anyway. And then game 4, the LeBlanc pick, don't know where that came from. That's a loss. And then game 5, you're playing Viego Elise, and you weren't able to play Elise to the level early game where it feels OP. So I think there's a lot of things at play here that made Weibo lose a series, but I still think that they had an overall pretty strong performance. Like I think that they look like the Weibo that you would expect with this lineup.
Just a quick shout out for the segment I think I did at the very first episode. That I think it was that dude's ass. Hong's game 5 performance on Elise. That dude was ass. That was so bad. And honestly, this game was only that close because Light stole the Drake with the rocket, and then Bree stole one of the Drakes with like so Galio. Like it was close. I mean, it was a very fun series. It was a very fun series, but that game 5, you're starting to see Jun jitters, and it was just jitters. Jamada, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, to be nice to Jun. You know, on the stage for a long time. I just wanted to tack on to Dom's point a little bit about the cross-mapping stuff, because I'm hoping that teams look at what happened in that sequence and try to accept that as the norm, because I still feel like teams are in the brain, I would almost call it like league brain rot mindset, where you have to fight over every single objective, and it's kind of gotten to a point where teams will just throw for the pure love of the game, of feeling like they have to contest every objective. And it's not the case. Teams do not. I don't know. It's just really frustrating. I think I worded it as the art of cross mapping has just died over the last couple of years. A few weeks ago. So I hope that teams look at this, especially with Atacon, because realistically, you just play chess around it, and as long as you don't allow them to, the team of Atacon, to be in a position where they can like dive you, actually actively use the buffs. If you play away from where their numbers are and just trade the gold, the buff feels way less impactful. It's a significantly win more buff in my mind. And if you're behind, losing to Atacon, then any gold usually when you're behind is kind of just considered an uptrade. Any gold that you get is usually considered like a soft uptrade, as long as you're not like losing an inhib or something really, really valuable. So yeah, I hope that teams generally moving forward look at that sequence and go, yeah, cross-mapping is maybe something we need to reconsider again, because I fucking miss it. Teams are head-buying each other a little bit too much for my liking.
All right. Well, there you have it. That was our certified banger of the week. If you want the timestamps for the important moments, it would be game 1 after Otacon is expiring. Tien goes in, and it's basically picture perfect with it expiring, getting the kill. So around like 20 something minutes. I would say game 4, the Kennen early game planned by JDG. Dom broke it down really well on his stream. Instead of leaving him to die on an island, they just 4-man dive bot lane multiple times. A good plan for champs that aren't really champs until they get some abilities. Later, like top lane champs that get some abilities. And game 5 was just there for the craziness.
Surdy needs to watch game 4. He needs to watch game 4 and learn how to play lane swaps, because Surdy he triggers me.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
Yeah,
he just doesn't know how to play lane swaps. It is what it is.
Yeah,
at least Surdy took the criticism on the chin. I think he said, LS VOD reviewed people messaged me about this, and he's right. Solo queue is different than pro play. So I hope that Surdy is able to get back and he can use this VOD as a study device. All right. There you go. Our certified banger of the week. Let us know if there were other ones that we missed. Otherwise, I mean, if you want another banger, you can watch T1 beat the shit out of Nongshim, I guess. I don't know. There really weren't too many bangers in LCK this week. Actually, there were none. I will say it definitively. There were none. All right. Let's move on. Before we get to our final topic of the day, it's time to go through our final friend that makes this show go, and it's our friends over at Mando. Y'all, I had a photo shoot the other day, yesterday actually, and I had to shower and head straight to the photo shoot, but I forgot to pack an extra shirt, so I had to use the shirt that I wore over for the gym. I didn't go super hard, but it wasn't the most natural smelling. But thankfully, our friends over at Mando had me covered. They had the deodorant wipes, and I wiped down my shirt, and I'm just telling you, after I showered, so I smelled good, but my shirt did not. Wiped it down, zero grunge smell there. It was amazing and awesome. And again, it is a whole body deodorant, safe to use anywhere, on the pits, balls, thigh folds, belly button, butt crack, and feet. And it was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated, and it's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. You have multiple different options of products. You have the solid deodorant stick, you have spray deodorant, you've got the deodorant wipes, you've got body wash, and all products are baking soda free and paraben free. You can choose from a variety of scents like bourbon leather, clove woods, Mount Fuji, or Pro Sport, and it's clinically proven to control odor better than shower with soap alone. 12 hours after a shower, the average man's grundle odor was a level 5 out of 10, and with Mando, the average grundle odor is a 0 out of 10. So if you want to go ahead and make that change, stop being stinky, and have yourself covered on the go, Mando starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with the solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And for a special offer for our listeners, new customers get 5% off of the starter pack with our exclusive code SPIKE. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack using the code SPIKE at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. Support the show and tell them we sent you with the code SPIKE. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. Thanks to our friends over at Mando. And again, I'm just proud that our network, that Monty's been working hard, that our team's been working, Andrew's been working hard to get us products that we use. And this one was like a super lifesaver, because I definitely forgot to pack an extra shirt for this photo shoot, which was pretty crucial. And it would have been, I'll talk about it more when the photo shoot comes out, but it was pretty awesome. All right. Okay. Final thing. It's time for the Galaxy Brain Club. We're in playoff time for LTA and LCK, so we're going to predict some of the outcomes and some of the things we expect to see as we move to the best of 5. And we bring both regions together for the first time in the LTA. It's the North and the South going up to it. So let's get into this week's Galaxy Brain Club. All right. Let's start in the LTA because I feel like LCK, we got to recap some. We weren't talking about it too much. LTA, we threw in some names and talked about it a little bit. And we could start with this recap with Brazil and the South. I guess it's not just Brazil, but LATAM teams as well. Dom, did you watch LATAM? I like the LTA, sir. Sur.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Give us the update. I need you to update because I did not watch that one this week.
It was rough this week. I mean, I feel like the biggest thing that I've noticed is that Pain seems like they've taken a step down. Like they were kind of the team that was running the region in summer, and they kept the same lineup, and they are no longer doing that. Even on their champs that used to be like free win champs, the game doesn't look clean. And yeah, there's just a lot of like really bad macro that we've been seeing. I'd say the biggest thing about Brazil, and it's similar to last year, is they just don't know how to set up objectives well, and the usage once they get things like Baron is really bad. They'll like have wrong members on lanes. They won't play like a 1-4 mid bot. They'll just have like people in random places. People will get caught. It's tough to watch. And I think that Pain specifically, they've lost a lot of their like aggression. Like Carioca, he used to play with a lot of intention. I mean, he was kind of a guy that was playing a decent amount of Sejuani. He was playing a decent amount of these tank junglers. And that's what he was good at. But now when he plays them, it's like he doesn't really do anything anymore. And it's just, I feel like the meta, like they've refused to adapt to the meta. Tanone still doesn't play Yone after all this time, where that's like one of the most powerful picks in the game. So that limits them to some degree as well. They just look like really all over the place. And yeah, I mean, their plan is pretty much like do nothing and then Titan will try to carry, and it doesn't always work. So I feel like they had a lot of struggles where I feel like they shouldn't. And yeah, we'll end up seeing how they do this weekend, I guess.
And then on the opposite side, for LTA North, FlyQuest, Team Liquid, they locked their spots in. FlyQuest beat them after a couple of unfortunate team fights for Team Liquid and little tempo things here for Team Liquid. It just feels weird, right? I mean, it is a single elim tournament where 1 plays 4, 2 plays 3, 3 plays 2, and 4 plays 1, right? That's the way that it works, and it feels a little brutal, doesn't it? I feel like it's just there isn't a lot of room for error because you go straight into best of 5 that teams haven't done before, or sorry, best of 3s and a best of 5 finals. It's single elim. There just isn't a lot of margin for error. Plus, the North American teams have to travel. Jamada, I feel like that's a lot of extra concern for that teams just aren't ready for.
I brought it up earlier about the format. I'm very surprised that it's all best of 3 until basically finals. I assume it's something to do. I assume it's a logistical thing. I will give them the benefit of the doubt there, but I feel like they would have enough time to run best of 5s.
100%. I mean, they started the week. They started the split like 2 weeks later for no reason than LPL. Like they could have just made the playoffs last way longer. I mean, it does feel extremely bare bones compared to every other region.
Exactly. And I do also feel like if you're going to run best of 3s, a double elim bracket would feel nice, right? In this circumstance, to at the very least kind of try to flesh it out. If you're going to keep so much of it as BO3s into the best of 5s. But yeah, it's brutal. I think as well the travel kind of disadvantage. I don't think it'll be that bad because at the end of the day, off the top of my head, it's not going to be like a crazy big time zone shift, right?
Like 5 hours.
Is it 5 hours? Is
5
Brazil
hours.
is where they're playing in Brazil? Is it going to be the like? Are they only 3 hours behind us? Well, us as in here. So wow. Okay, maybe it will be a little bit more impactful than I thought. Then I mean,
Jamada's geography taking a hit here.
I thought no. Do you know what? No, because I thought where Brazil was, I thought they were only 4 hours behind here, London, England. Which only makes it a 4 hour difference, or like maybe a 3 hour difference, right? To gamers. So I guess Brazil, it's maybe a little bit bigger than I thought it was. Or where they're playing, they must be playing really far in the east.
Does Brazilian have multiple different time zones, or is it just Brazilian time?
I think it has at least 2. I think it has at least 2 time zones because I used to have friends from Brazil, so I'm pretty sure it's at least 2 time zones.
Okay,
if it's not,
it's 2.
I guess I guess
Oh, it's
like
4. Holy shit, it's 4.
Oh, well, there you go.
4. No way.
Yeah. Fernando de Noronha,
Big.
Brasilia, Amazon Standard Time, and Acre or Acre Standard Time, or Rico Branco. So it's 4. Holy shit.
I mean, it's
Four
just
is
like, I feel like, okay, there are 4 time zones, but I mean, to be fair, it's like most of Brazil is in
most of it, it's in 2. Most of Brazil is in 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it'll be a slightly bigger like disadvantage-ish. But I don't think it's necessarily something to like super factor in. I think the funnier thing to factor in is probably like the home crowd advantage, right? Of just being in Brazil, there's going to be more support for the Brazilian teams. So I wonder how much that will maybe.
I mean, they're going to be standing up and screaming at the NA players.
and
like, who knows how? Like, imagine how UmTi's going to react when some guy just stands up and starts flaming him to his face. Honestly, to be fair though, like, I don't think that who do they play? They play Isurus Estral, right?
Yeah, they play Isurus.
Yeah, I mean, if they play Isurus Estral, like, they probably won't be doing too much of that. Like, Snaker might be doing it. Jose's not doing that. Bertol's not doing it. Miru's not doing it. Like, who knows? I
look forward to the 100 Thieves Pain series for just exactly this. I hope
they'll
Sniper's gonna do it. Sniper's gonna do it.
100% gonna chirp back.
I hope like Sniper will 100% chirp back. I really hope, though I doubt it, but I hope that the bottom lane also try and throw some shit back. Just because it's Titan that normally does it the most, right?
Yeah.
Out of everyone in pain. It would just be fun to get that level of banner because we definitely.
I just want to see if any of the NA teams will lose because, like, macro wise, like I'll tell you from watching, like, if they aren't like mentally affected by the fact that they're like going to be like in Brazil, the whole crowd is going to be against them. Like the studio's kind of like smaller in a way. The players are yelling. If they're not mentally affected, just from like the actual analysis of the games, every NA team should beat every Latin American South team.
Should
like it should be a 4-0. So if it's not a 4-0, it's kind of crazy. But I mean, then again, 100 Thieves should have beat Movistar R7 at Worlds. And they just didn't, right? So who knows? I mean, anything can happen.
It's quite funny because the one team that I could see dropping their series in quarters is actually 100 Thieves.
Yeah, same. And there are 1 seed technically.
They're 1 seed technically. Mostly because from the bits of LTA South that I have caught, I agree the macro kind of sucks, but sometimes and more pertaining to pain, to be honest with you, their mechanics are pretty solid. Like in terms of team fighting, they're willing to be really, really aggressive. It's maybe towing a line of griefing at times, but I think especially I look towards Titan again, and that guy's a psychopath. Like as an AD player, like that guy is flashing in perma to get damage out. He's doing all of the. He does not care about his life. If he feels like he can get a 2-for-1, he's gonna take it as the AD.
Yeah,
like every single day of the week. So I think if the series gets sloppy in that 100 Thieves series, there's legitimate worlds where pain.
I mean, it will be sloppy. 100 Thieves plays sloppy League of Legends, so they do try. I mean,
that's it. Yeah,
I think that's the whole thing about 100 Thieves in general, and I feel like that's why they lost the Movistar R7 is like they do play like sloppy fight-based League of Legends, and if they're not doing that, their macro is the worst out of all the NA teams, right? Like the reason they win is because they're able to like just make a lot of plays. And yeah, I mean, last time Quid went international, like he didn't look anything like Domestic Quid. Domestic Quid is a fucking beast. Like this guy is like probably like borderline the best player in NA when he's playing domestically. Then he went international. He dropped that 0.809 Vex game, whatever the fuck it was. And yeah, he just was completely running it. When this guy like should be head and shoulders above the competition there. So I do think that should be the closest series. The first 100 Thieves Pain, that should be the closest series. But like I said, like there's so many angles where these Latin teams are just going to give you the game back. Like no matter how far down you are in the game, like them getting Baron is not GG. Like a Latin American South team, they get Baron. Just look at, I would like to see on average how their Baron power plays look compared to other regions because they barely take any turrets. Like they'll get Baron and it's like, they'll get 1 turret at like 40 minutes with a Baron. They'll get like a tier 2 bot or something. And it's like, they're not ending the game. They don't really know how to like set up. Like a lot of times Barons can be bad because they push. And since they don't know how to push correctly, people will get caught and they'll die. And then, enemy team will counter push or they'll lose Drake or something. So yeah, I mean, it's very like, I mean, it's exactly what I said. It should just be a 4-0 for NA. And I actually don't think it will be. I feel like one team is just going to fucking shit the bed. Also, it's best of 3s, right? So it's not a best of 5 where teams can settle into it. And it's one of those best of threes where like there's going to be a lot of pressure on the LTA North teams because they are expected to win. They're all expected to just completely shit on the enemy. So I feel like a lot of these things have been factors that NA teams haven't used well historically. NA teams historically have been the type of teams where when they're big favorites, they choke or they like play like a little too stiff. Where normally when you watch the top teams in the world, when they're favorites for the most part, they use that as like a confidence boost. Like, yeah, we're favorites. If we just play a solid game, we're going to win by default. So it should be like a relaxing thing. But for NA teams, a lot of times it like makes them overly nervous and overly tight. And that's the problem that we normally see a lot of the times. It's just like they're just not doing anything on the map. And the Brazilian teams historically are not. They're not pussy teams. There's no other way to say it. They're just like they're not pussies. Like they're not pussies at all. They're just not. They just don't have good macro, and they'll lose because of that. But they're not scared to make plays and play like themselves. And I think that's going to be the defining factor.
Yeah, I think they're just not
Team Korean macro.
Yeah, they're not calibrated. They're calibrated too far to the don't give a fuck side. So
they're like they get hyped before the matches. I feel like Brazilian players are like all right, let's fucking go out there and like let's fucking show them what we're made of. Like they just go out there, and then it's like, hey bro, like shouldn't you like what about like a 4-1 with Baron on bot lane? They're like, shut up nerd, like get the fuck out of here. Like I'm gonna beat this guy's ass because I'm just fucking better than him. Like they're like ego players.
Yeah. Just checked on Twitter, Cloud9 and 100 Thieves. The plane that had both Cloud9 and 100 Thieves has landed. So they are there. Claudio 9 Kia in Brazil. They are there along with 100 Thieves. So good for them. They'll get set up and they'll prepare their first ever LTA playoffs against the LATAM and Brazilian teams. Golly, I just look at this schedule and I just can't believe they only play like one match a week. Like it just blows my mind. It blows my mind now that I'm so just accustomed to what the LCK is doing. Where like fucking Nongshim and DRX had to play 3 series in a row. I mean, it was a best of three, then a best of 5, but they played 3 days back to back, 3 different opponents you had to plan for. And then it's like, congrats, Nongshim, you qualified. DRX, sorry, unlucky that you didn't. Go ahead, Dom, real quick.
I mean, I'm just going to say, like, it's so weird to prepare as a team for this because, like, the whole split for C9 is 4 weeks. Like, that's the whole split. You had 2 weeks, qualified on the second week, and then you just have, like, 2 weeks here, and we'll see. And if you just like lose if you lose this one best of 3, all right, GG, like you're just cooked like off that. If we lose to Loud, it's done for us, So it just so like it feels so like rushed or something. It's really strange how it ends up working.
The studio in Brazil, 180 capacity, but we know it's going to be rocking.
It feels like 500. Yeah, the Brazilian fans are nuts.
Going to be a ton of fun to watch that one. All right, let's move on over to the LCK where we have 2 matches already set with the top teams from the group battle sitting in their buys. That would be T plus Kia as the number 1 seed. They'll get to pick whoever wins out of KT versus Nongshim and T1 versus Hanwha Life. So they're probably going to pick KT or Nongshim. And then Genji will get the other side of the matchup. Let's quickly go through KT and Nongshim because I feel like we're going to spend a lot of time. Nah, fuck it. Let's just go straight to the good shit. T1 and Hanwha Life. It's the first time that the fans will get to see the traitorous Zeus against their beloved, mostly not the Guma fans, beloved T1 Tomatoes. This is it. The best of 5, and it's only because their jerseys are like tomato red. And like at first fans
people
didn't
call
like
them
it.
the T1 Tomatoes now?
They're like, oh, they're tomatoes. Like a fan dressed up with like wait,
did you guys see the fan tweet that went viral yesterday where somebody said that like, imagine liking anyone on T1, calling yourself a T1 fan and liking anyone on T1 more than Faker himself. That's like worshiping Jesus. What? That's like worshiping Jesus and liking one of the apostles more than like it was like, God damn, Faker is the Jesus of the league. That was actually kind of crazy. I like that one. That one hyped me up yesterday.
Well, no, I didn't see that one. I need all of our fans, all of the T1 fans to know this is just fringe fandom. We know that's not most of you. It's fringe fandom. However, that's a pretty good one.
Well, since we have fringe fans here, just know that you can sign up right now to what is it called? It's called T1 Pop, and if for $15 a month, you can have live chats with the pro players. $15 a month, you can foster your relationship with the pro players through live chatting. So go ahead.
Yeah, Dom becoming from hater to promoter.
They should pay me a bag. T1 Pop, guys. T1 Pop.
Turning a new leaf. All right. T1 Hanwha Life Esports on paper looks pretty great. In reality, T1 beat the shit out of Nongshim, and Hanwha Life stumbled their way through a not very good DRX who barely let me rephrase that. Whose team doesn't look like it's functioning super well together, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a substitution at some point. You can. How do you want to look at this one, Jamada? Do you want to go lane by lane? Do you want to go ethos? Like, how do you look at this?
I mean, if we go lane by lane, I suppose. I just feel like right now, lane by lane into collectively. When you go lane by lane, it feels like no one on Hanwha is really performing to the level that we expected them to, coming from 24 to this year. I think there's a million and one reasons why you could come up with to say as to why. Whether it's kind of soft meta changes, whether it's kind of the overall structure of. I've been speaking with Orcs a little bit to get a little bit more background on what your guys' thoughts were about LCK in 20, or not LCK, about Hanwha in 24 compared to now. And it just seems like structurally, Hanwha Life is just they're struggling because they don't seem to have like much in-game direction. So I think if you start to go lane by lane, it's like, well, Thorin might still. Wouldn't it be funny because I feel like Thorin's been the one player who's been underperforming on T1, or like has had marked bad games on T1, that he comes in and he just fathers Zeus because Zeus because like Hanwha again, they've just been struggling and just carry on that trend from last year. I just feel as though Hanwha have not hit any positive stride throughout this entire split so far. So no matter what angle I look at this with, T1 feel in every aspect of their game like a better team right now. It's weird because it's just the Smash substitution, right? That seems to have changed entirely how they play, how they draft. I don't know, dGon. I can see this being a very quick series when we get around to it, because Hanwha have not found their footing in the meta. It doesn't seem like they have much clear macro direction, and on the flip side, T1 feel like they can now rely on Smash for the time being as a carry. The rest of the team isn't playing as poorly as they started off, and no one seems to be picking up the slack on HLE right now, right? I think that's the big thing. You would normally look at this roster and go, who can you look to carry? No one is on form to stand up to anyone on T1 right now, with the exception of maybe top lane, but I could see that still going as Zeus, going a Thorin way for the sake of the meme.
Yeah, I think you could go Viper. But I feel like the draft hasn't set up Zeus to carry yet. Like they haven't put him in that role. They basically put Zeus in the Doran role, which is Doran doing it for T1, but doing it better when they're clearly drafting for Smash, and he's been able to play those take the resources kind of role. I will also add that I'm pretty sure no one on the broadcast for LCK Global has picked Hanwha Life Esports. Dom, is that the right call? Is it just a take care of business here by T1 and see you later, Hanwha Life Esports? We'll see you in April.
I mean, I'd be very shocked if Hanwha is able to win this. Like, they haven't looked better than T1 at any aspect of League of Legends, I would say. Like, Hanwha just plays like these messy games where, I mean, they kind of look like 100 Thieves, to be honest, where they just like end up winning because they have better players versus teams that are worse than them. But they don't have like much like strategy in how they set up things. Like they don't really have like this, like what they had before when they were able to beat Gen G is they had like a very, they had a solid plan for how the game was going to play out. Where now I just feel like their games are super messy, super high kill. You know, people are just running around, dying. They're getting caught on waves they don't need to get caught on. They just feel like they're lacking so much discipline right now. Whereas like T1 games, like they look fucking good right now. Like they right now are playing as the best team in LCK besides for maybe Dom1. I think Dom1 we have to see how that ends up going because they had looked pretty good, and I think Dom1 is pretty good with Fearless. I guess now there's more information on how T1 wants to play, so maybe we'll start seeing teams adapt to that more, you know, like take away the Kai'Sa, Ezreal, these types of picks, and see if Smash is able to play the other stuff well, because it seems like for the longest time people were drafting against Smash as if he was going to have the same pryos as other ADs, and now his pryos are revealed, and it's like he's the guy who they want to pick like Kai'Sa, Ezreal, you know, like, or Kai'Sa Poppy, like Ezreal Poppy. They want to pick these 80 carries that have more freedom, and those 80 carries work much better with carry as champion pool in general. Like you want to play something that is either really good in the swap, like so Kai'Sa is very good at like killing things in the swap. Ezreal allows you to just play essentially any support you want, because Ezreal can kind of like 1v2 most lanes for the most part. And it just gives them a lot of like just freedom in general in the game. So I feel like the team has been playing pretty well. I mean, this might be like one of the best versions we've ever seen of T1 domestically, like since the roster's inception, with the exception obviously of 2022 spring. Like I feel like everyone is playing pretty well right now.
Yeah, there's a couple of just things in the LCK right now that you're like, this feels like fool's gold. T1 informed during the season, fool's gold. D plus good again, fool's gold. Gen G with ruler. But everyone else isn't really firing off, and they're only the second seed because they won early. I don't know. Like there's a lot of like exciting prospects for teams, but nothing that feels like damn concrete. Other than like D plus champions pool is super wide. Like that one's pretty concrete. That one seems a lot of like fun, and the fact that part of the tournament is double elimination is very exciting. Hanwha Life doesn't inspire confidence with their form, and you felt like they'd get a great tune-up to beat the shit out of DRX the same way that T1 beat the shit out of Nongshim, and they just didn't do that. And I think that's why people are worried about how this team is going to gel together, and worried about how it's going to work. So it is going to be a big day over at Lol Park, though. Here is your T1 again, fringe. We're talking less than 1%, but it's crazy. Fan update. There were fans that would they would buy a ticket. Again, it's the hottest ticket in the LCK. It's so hard to get a ticket for any time T1 wins. They would get a ticket. They would go to Lol Park. They would take their Gumayushi jersey off, put it in the seat, and then leave Lol Park and watch in the lobby, because there's like you can watch it, so that the Gumayushi jersey is facing the crowd and they're not in the crowd. You could see it in there were more, but you could see it when they win. Doran, when the camera like pans Doran, he does his thumbs up, you could see the jersey there with Guma, and there's like a sign next to it that got like cut into like a YouTube short and stuff, and I was fed that information. That is the silent protest that the Guma fans are doing.
I mean, the thing that I like
no one
the most
steals anything, so they're gonna be able to keep their jersey.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that I like the most about the new T1 lineup is like it actually feels like an esports team again instead of like a K-pop group. Like it feels like this is what like when I originally used to like T1 back in the day, it was because of the gameplay, right? Like I just feel like they are a team that is not afraid to change players. They're trying to be the best, and like that's like the thing that I think is attractive about them as a unit. So like this, I don't even like hate this roster anymore. Like before, it was just like part of me was like, oh my god, I'm gonna just get like so much like just flame online if they end up winning a game, and it's like this whole like fan base that doesn't even feel like an esports fan base. But now it's like I feel like they're kind of a real esports team again. Like, oh shit, like they have players, like they're trying to build towards winning. Like, isn't that nice? Like that they're willing to change players and they're willing to just do whatever it takes in order to win. Like, I don't know. I just feel like this should be the best time to be a T1 fan, but instead people are acting like it's the end of the world. Also, this is like the best they've looked consistently in LCK. Like I said,
I know, dude.
In like years, like they actually look like the best team in LCK again. Like, what the fuck? When was the last time we had that?
Yeah, it's been a while. And again, they were only in play-ins and only in this position because of the unique group format of the LCK Cup, which again, love the fact that we tried this, love the fact that we're getting more matches for teams. Later on in the season, we're going to get more matches of the best teams against the best teams. Hopefully we don't suffer from like G2 Fnatic fatigue, but with the way that it's looked so far, T1 looked like they could be leading the way and not waiting till Worlds to ramp up. Other side of the bracket, Nongshim versus KT. Jamada, I'll defer to you again. Nongshim go through the play-ins. They win. They get to play in the LCK's first ever best of 5 for the LCK Cup. It only goes 4 games, but the creativity that Kingin brings, the shot calling that Lahens brings has been crucial. They're up against a KT roster that hasn't played in a little while. Last time we saw KT, Wei looked lost his way. And then when you go through up and down like that, each role, Nongshim aren't that far off. Like maybe in the mid lane, but other than that, and maybe in the jungle, but other than that, that's not too far off. What do you make of this series?
I think if they can play side lanes, I think they're kind of okay, right? I would just like to see more play through Lahens and the Gideon as a pairing in my mind. If you can defang BDD and Cuz, then there's a reasonable chance that you can go through a whole best of 5 and survive, or at the very least look good. If I'm Nongshim, that's kind of my plan and idea. I think that overall their mid games have been a bit hit or miss, but I think they can probably outmaneuver KT in the mid game. If I was to make any kind of assumption about how the game will or how the games will play out, I think they can outchess them in the mid game basically, and that's kind of where I think they're gonna have to make their meat, because otherwise I can kind of just make an assumption that KT will out team fight them later on in any kind of circumstance, pretty much, as long as drafts are fine.
Dom, what do you make of this one?
Oh no, bro. I'm kind of torn. I feel like Nongshim is the type of team that they're like annoying to play against because you have to ban such weird things. Like, I feel like the meta right now is probably the best for Lahens that it could be, because he's somebody who always liked being a weird player, right? He was the Singed guy who'd pick it into like Yuumi. I was like, what the fuck? Like, do we have to ban Singed, or like what is going on here? Like you'd have this weird perception of playing against him. And then right now, if you see what teams are doing, they have to ban Shen a lot of the time because Shen is really good. And then like he's also the guy that started the Elise trend. Like he was somebody who loved the Elise. So that's another pick that you have to like worry about. So you've got like Shen, Elise, then there's like Pantheon coming in. That sounds like a Lahens champion. What else? You have like Poppy that he can play as well. Like I think that it's really good for him to be playing in such a heavy lane swap meta because he's so good at so many weird different things. So I like Lahens a lot in this matchup versus Wei, because I feel like Wei is struggling and Lahens is somebody who is good at capitalizing on the weakness of the enemy support. He's a lot like BRO to me in that regard, where like he is good at like shitting on like worse supports or like making support diff feel really annoying for the whole game. So yeah, I mean that's just something that I think could be like pretty good for them. In terms of the other positions, I mean I do think that Fisher versus BDD is massive mismatch, right? Like I think Fisher is the worst player on Nongshim. Like just straight up, I just think he's the worst player on Nongshim. So could be a big issue, right? Like, I mean, he could solo lose it. I'm not saying it's going to happen guaranteed, but it definitely could happen. So, yeah, I think that is something that might be questionable. We'll have to see how everything goes there. But for the most part, I think Nongshim does have a chance for sure. Like they can win. I I think also like they seem like they're vibing better recently. Like I thought they were going to lose to DRX, but after seeing the way that they beat DRX, I'm like, okay, something's going on here. Also, it feels like that team probably has like pretty good match of players. Like Lahens has always been the pick me up guy, right? Like he's the happy guy on the team that helps you become less stressed. And yeah, I think that everything over there looks pretty good. So I'm actually excited for this. I don't think it's going to be like super one-sided KT. I definitely think there's chances for Nongshim to take games, and I think a lot of it will come off the support gameplay.
It's funny because he is that guy. He is the pick-me-up guy. After game 3, so they were up 2-1. They played like the mic check thing, and thankfully on our broadcast we have Wadid who can translate it live. Also, G-Sun will translate things that are important. But he was like, "Oh shit, Wadid was mad," and we were like, "What happened?" And they're like, "They were pushing to win. They had already won." And he goes, "See, guys, that's why you need to listen to your Hyung." And then people responded, "You're right. We will listen to your Hyung. He will lead us to victory." And he was like, I guess pissed from game 2 that they weren't listening. Probably pissed against T1 because in the T1 match they had good ideas. They were just getting out handsed. Like T1 just came and bitch slapped him. It was a very fun watch. But in the other game, they got pulled into the slot that Rich was. It feels like Rich just confuses people because he's confused, but it worked for a win against Nongshim, and that made Lahens mad. And I think that's the way it's gonna go. Your barrel comparison is great. I think Lahens at his best is better than Barrel. Lahens at his worst is worse than Barrel, and Barrel's range is wide. Lahens' range is even wider. So we'll see how that one goes. All right. That's pretty much, I think, what we need to knock out for today. Double elimination LCK, so don't worry. We will come back and talk more about Gen G and D Plus when we see them, because we will see them in action since we don't only play one game a week per team in the LCK. We don't do that anymore. Yeah, that does it here for us. Dom, what do you got on your schedule for the week?
Just gonna be doing LPL and LCK. Gonna be focusing more on LCK because we're in playoffs and elimination matches. So I'll be watching LCK tomorrow and the next day. Also, I think LCK has just been like really fun to watch. Like I said, with the meta and stuff, I think it's just like really fun to watch right now because you just get to see like more action than before. Be watching LCK for the next couple days. And yeah, then we have LTA this weekend. So it's going to be a big weekend starting there. And yeah, I'll watch like the LPL matches on days where the LCK matches aren't like either super important, or on the days where the LCK matchups are off sync with the LPL matches, so I can watch both at the same time. So yeah, that's my plan for the rest of the week. No Ruddy Sack this week. We have the week off, and yeah, I will just be doing my normal stuff.
Yeah, definitely keeping an eye on those LTA North the LTA North matches, and also Thunder Talk and Billy over there. The final 2-0 versus 2-0 matchup before the group stage wraps up, as Ninja in Pajamas already has. They haven't wrapped up the group stage, but they're playing RNG. He's already lost. Jamada, what do you have for content this week?
Doing more NLC stuff. So I'm watching, the significantly more successful project in the Los Ratones team play. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry, man. You guys are just in the lower bracket. Like this could have been you this week. You could have been farming all the impressions, all of the bullshit and back nonsense. But you had to lose the Bulldog, man.
We just need Thorin to make a video on our support, and then we'll be back in the mix.
No. Yeah. I'm not touching that. And yeah, that's more or less it. LEC's back, which is fun. So I mean, the first round is kind of going to be a bit one-sided, I think. All the matchups are pretty like top heavy, except for KC Vitality. I think Vitality might weirdly win that series despite how good KC have looked. I don't know. They've just got a weird. They're playing weird League of Legends Vitality at the minute, and I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to just randomly upset what should be a clean higher seed wins the first round set of best ofs. Otherwise, that's about it. It's a quiet week for myself.
All right. And LCK will be popping off. We will have everything for you next week here on Power Spike. Thanks to everyone for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe. Come on, you're already watching. Just subscribe. Get the info for you. Thanks to all the sponsors and partners of the show. And we'll see you next week for more Power Spike action. See ya.